It is almost impossible to talk about basketball greatness without stepping into the vast shadow cast by Michael Jordan. His legacy stretches so far beyond the numbers that even listing them feels insufficient. Yet the numbers themselves tell a story no other player in NBA history can replicate. Jordan scored 50 or more points in the playoffs 8 different times, more than Kobe, Durant, LeBron, and Wilt combined. He produced more 40-point playoff games than Kareem, Allen Iverson, Steph Curry, and Dwyane Wade put together. And in the strangest, most telling statistic of all, he is the only player who spent more nights scoring over 40 than he did scoring under 20. It wasn't just scoring dominance. It was intimidation or psychological warfare. Jordan entered games expecting to dominate, and opponents entered games hoping to survive. Yet even that doesn't capture the full picture. Jordan was more than a scorer. He was a closer. 28 times he hit the game-winning shot, 7 of those in the postseason. When the clock bled into its final seconds, the entire world knew who the ball belonged to. His defensive resume only widened the gap between him and everyone else. He owns more first-team all-defense selections than any player in league history. He is the all-time blocks leader among guards, and no one has ever matched his 6 seasons with over 200 steals. But even legends start somewhere, and Jordan's beginning was far less glamorous. His genetics suggested an ordinary athlete. No one in his family was taller than 5 feet 9 inches. As a high school sophomore, Michael stood barely above 5 feet 10 inches, and famously failed to make the varsity roster. Yet buried in the Jordan bloodline was explosive athleticism. His older brother Larry could dunk at 5 feet 8 inches, and when Michael's unexpected growth spurt carried him all the way to 6 feet 6 inches, his gifts fused into a once-in-a-lifetime blueprint. By his senior year, he dominated high school basketball, but he still arrived at North Carolina as a raw, uncertain freshman. Surrounded by veterans like James Worthy and Sam Perkins, Jordan averaged only 13 points per game. His ball handling, shooting confidence, and feel for the game were not yet legendary. Everything changed during the 1982 NCAA championship. With the game on the line, UNC placed the ball in the hands of freshman nobody, yet considered a superstar. Jordan rose, shot, and buried the jumper that sealed the national title over Georgetown. That moment, more than any other, flipped a switch inside him. By his own admission, it turned him from Mike into Michael Jordan. Over the next 2 seasons, he sharpened every piece of his skill set under the guidance of Dean Smith. He became a complete player, a first-team All-American, and eventually the College Player of the Year. Even so, few analysts predicted NBA immortality. Many college stars before him had stronger numbers and bigger resumes. When the 1984 draft arrived, he went 3rd overall behind 2 centers, a sign of how little value the league placed on shooting guards at the time. It took just a couple practices with the Chicago Bulls for everyone to realize a mistake. Teammates described his presence like a shockwave. Coaches immediately saw that this rookie wasn't just talented, he was different. When the season opened, Jordan exploded on the league with a speed and athletic force nobody had seen before. He scored 30 by his 3rd game, 40 by his 9th, and before the season ended, he had turned Chicago into must-watch television. Nobody moved like him. Nobody elevated like him. Defenders seemed frozen in place as he glided past them. When he jumped, it looked as if gravity hesitated. And when he hung in the air for those extra fractions of a second, defenders returned to the floor before he did, leaving him alone with a clear shot. His popularity skyrocketed. In 1986, he made the All-Star team despite playing only 3 regular season games due to an ankle injury. Then came the famous 63-point game against Boston, an explosion so spectacular that even Larry Bird admitted it felt like guarding something superhuman. But as great as Jordan was individually, the Bulls remained a struggling team. He became the league's leading scorer. He dunked his way into icon status. Yet Chicago could not get past the experienced, brutal Detroit Pistons. For years, the narrative around Jordan was clear: unstoppable talent, but not a winner. That began to change when the Bulls added Horace Grant and a raw, long-armed forward named Scottie Pippen. And in 1988, Jordan delivered his most complete season: 35 points per game, a scoring title, 3.2 steals per game, 1.6 blocks, and Defensive Player of the Year. He became one of only 5 players to ever win MVP and Defensive Player of the Year in the same season. Still, Detroit kept beating Chicago, and critics insisted Jordan hogged the ball, ignored open teammates, and didn't know how to play winning basketball. In truth, he was a scorer first. He passed reactively, only when forced, not proactively like Magic or later Jokic and Doncic. But greatness evolves. Everything shifted when Phil Jackson and Tex Winter brought the triangle offense to Chicago. They placed the ball in the post, created cuts, demanded trust, and empowered Pippen to initiate offense. Jordan finally had a system that didn't require him to do everything. He bulked up, adding strength no one in the league expected, turned his post-up game into a weapon, and began dominating with intellect as much as athleticism. The results were immediate. Chicago cracked 50 wins, rose through the East, and in 1991 finally broke through Detroit. The Bulls swept the Pistons, who famously walked off the court without shaking hands. The 1991 finals marked the beginning of an era. Against Magic Johnson's Lakers, Jordan delivered an unforgettable performance, highlighted by a midair switch hand layup that still defines his legacy. He averaged 31 points, 8 assists, and 6 rebounds in playoffs, shooting a career-high 56%, and won his first championship. The next year, he repeated the feat, dropping 6 threes in the opening half of the finals during the iconic Shrug game. In 1993, he met Charles Barkley, the league MVP, and outdueled him with a finals average of 41 points, ensuring the first three-peat. Then tragedy struck. After his father was murdered, Jordan retired. 18 months later, he returned, left Russ on the court, and lost to the Orlando Magic. The Bulls responded by adding Steve Kerr, Tony Kukoc, Ron Harper, and Dennis Rodman. With that roster, Jordan led the Bulls to a 72-win season, then a 69-win campaign, then a 62-win finish. He completed a second three-peat, winning finals MVP each time, and sealed his legacy with a 1998 dagger over Byron Russell, the shot that froze basketball history. Jordan's greatness lived in phases. Young Jordan was raw power and athletic brilliance. Prime Jordan was complete mastery, perfect footwork, unshakable mental discipline, and otherworldly competitiveness. Late career Jordan was pure skill, craft, and leadership. Any one of those phases would have been enough for a Hall of Fame resume. Together, they created something the sport has never seen again. Even when he wasn't at his physical peak, Jordan remained the best player in the world. When he slowed down, he compensated with intelligence. When teams doubled him, he trusted the system. And when the moment called for greatness, he delivered every single time. Jordan wasn't flawless. He could be demanding to a fault, sometimes selfish, sometimes cold. But the game of basketball has never combined athleticism, skill, intelligence, and competitive fire the way he did. He was a standard, the measuring stick, the icon. And long after he retired, long after the celebrations quieted, the debates faded, and the world moved on, the shadow of number 23 still stretches across the game. Before you go, share your thoughts. Do you believe Michael Jordan stands alone as the greatest to ever play? Or has someone else challenged that throne in your eyes? Comment your take below. And if you enjoy deep dive storytelling like this, make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss a video.